Okie dokie. Is standing out a good thing, or is it a bad thing? Asa's parents have just died, rip bozo. While they're trying to scrape them out from the inside of a crushed car, Asa now has to sit at this funeral lunch, where she waits for her relatives to deliberate over who gets to take home a freshly made orphan. It's a really unfortunate start to the anime Ikoku Nikki, but what stood out to me is the fact that Asa, against her will, now stands out. The girl whose parents are dead. But is standing out such a bad thing? Well, obviously in this specific scenario, yes, standing out is bad. This terrible thing has happened to you, and now everyone knows about it. When Asa goes back to middle school to graduate, she finds out that her best friend Emiri, who she confided to about her sudden loss, has accidentally leaked this to the entire school. Emiri told her mom told the teachers, and the teachers thought, damn, that's rough, buddy. Wait till everyone else hears about this. Asa is understandably upset, originally hoping to just get through graduation like a normal student. However, that privilege has been stripped away from her as she's forced to endure everyone tiptoeing, whispering, and pitying the girl whose parents are dead. So standing out is bad, right? Well, here's the thing. When Asa enters high school, while everyone is introducing themselves, she decides to willingly reveal that her parents are dead, killed in a car crash. She now lives with her aunt, who's a novelist. Ain't that cool? Everyone's reaction to this is pretty lackluster, and they move on pretty quickly, which kind of just leaves Asa a little disappointed. So now we have this interesting contrast, Asa hating that she stands out when her parents' death is revealed, and also Asa relishing the idea of standing out by using her parents' death to make herself look more interesting. I feel like Ikoku Nikki, or more so Asa herself, is constantly grappling with the idea of whether standing out is a good or bad thing. Because at the end of the day, we all want to stand out, right? At the bare minimum, we are social creatures, and the best way to socialize is to stand out, to get someone to notice us and talk to us. I should know, I'm a YouTuber. My entire life's purpose is to clickbait you into watching my video. Athletes, actors, artists all want your attention, and sometimes we will do whatever it takes to get it. Bad publicity is good publicity and all that jazz. But Asa is still unsure about standing out. When she joins the band club, at first she does so because she just enjoys singing and even tries to write lyrics in hopes of standing out. But when opportunity strikes with the band club holding auditions for an outdoor concert, Asa, who was at first eager, backs away. It's scary standing out, and singing in front of people? No thanks. Which is understandable, people get cold feet all the time, but it seems like it's not quite her saying this, but the people around her. One of her classmates talked behind someone's back, exclaiming that this new popular kid should lie low and not bring attention to herself, all because she used to be bullied in the past. I just mean, she should stick out for the wrong reasons. You never know when your standing might change. Another classmate finds out that the university she was applying for was accused of arbitrarily deducting points from female students. No matter how high you score, no matter how much you stand out, something out of your control may result in it all ending in futility. There's this unconscious pressure that keeps piling onto Asa, telling her that standing out is not worth it. You should just stay quiet. And to see this more evidently, we have to look no further than her dead mom. When Asa informs Makio about revealing her parents' death at high school, instead of this dramatic reaction, all Makio says is, not, don't be embarrassing like that. Not, well, that's how it goes sometimes. Not, don't worry, just be more careful in the future. She just moves on like it's no big deal. Nothing like what Mother would have said. Mother who hated standing out. Minori Koudai wants to fit in. She fears anything weird and latches onto the idea of normalcy. We see how apparent this is with her past interactions with Makio, like when she disparages her for still reading kids manga that she has long since moved on from, or when she laughs in her face when she finds out Makio wishes to write a novel. Aren't you embarrassed living in a fantasy world like this? Why don't you face reality already? Minori seems to shed everything she deems weird in order to not be different. And we see her as an adult, hanging out with her friends, married with a kid, and she does indeed seem normal. But is she normal? We see from her friend group that they're all caught up in this idea of a traditional, nuclear, perfect family. I never really cared much for kids, but once I had my own, it felt meant to be. I finally became who I always wanted to be. If you have a child, you'll finally be who you want to be. But when she finally does marry a man, she discovers later on that he doesn't even love her. I don't want to get married, but I want to take care of the child. My only use for you is giving birth. In fact, the only scenes we get of Asa's father showcase how empty and vapid this man is. When asked for an opinion about Asa's new haircut after Minori said it made her look like a boy, this man takes one look at her and says, well, just do what you want to do. As long as it's within reason, I guess. When she asks again what he thought about her singing after a choir competition, the only thing he says is, you stood out. This isn't an opinion. There's no compliment, no criticism, no feedback to take from this. This statement is neutral. This man is neutral. A boring wooden palette with no colors on it, unable to paint a single stroke. It kind of reminds me of the 2026 horror movie, Obsession. Wild tangent, I know, but stay with me. There is a guy who has a crush on a girl called Nikki, and he wishes on this funny little trinket that Nikki would love him more than anything else in the world. And the wish works. It changes Nikki. As the movie goes on, we slowly start to realize that the Nikki we see is no longer the real Nikki, that the real Nikki is trapped in her own body as the wish that Bear made forces her to do things against her will. This girl who once had aspirations of becoming a writer, now trapped by a man who only loved the idea of being in a relationship with her. I bring up this comparison because the reveal of Minori's mental state feels eerily similar. A woman who is so afraid of standing out that she decides to strip herself of any individuality so that she can conform to the ideals of others. Her friend's ideal of raising a happy family, her husband's ideal of becoming a father. Minori, unable to do anything, unable to escape the hole that she dug for herself, just stands there and takes it, rolling over and dying before her actual death. And that's terrifying. The existential crisis that you have lost everything that makes you is just so horrifying and real, unable to change because you believe that's how it's supposed to be. But before I knew it, nothing was going the way I wanted. My life didn't turn out anything like I imagined. Little sister of mine, how do you endure being different from everyone else. So Asa, having discovered her mother's feelings through a journal left behind, feels like she is also trapped by the idea of not standing out. Years of being conditioned by mother knows best, having everything chosen for her, from her clothes to a club to join, this accidental curse passed from parent to child that unfortunately does not disappear even when the caster is dead. Which leads us to Makio. The entire reason Asa decides to stay with Makio is because she stood out, declaring that while she despised her mother and doesn't feel much towards her, can't stand the idea of her being passed around by relatives that care even less. Makio, as a novelist, makes a living by standing out. She feels like the very antithesis to Minori, constantly challenging Asa to think for herself and providing her with the freedom to do so over the entire season. I think the most prominent turning point actually comes not from Makio, but from one of her friends, Motsu. During a video call where they're just chatting while picking out clothes for an event, Asa ends up asking Motsu whether she is the type to stand out. Is standing out a good thing or a bad thing? In which Motsu responds with, "What? Your type? Who gives a crap about that?" She then proceeds to talk about how she's had a lot of regrets about that very question, about how she had felt trapped by labels she had placed on herself, like putting others first or avoiding confrontation, and how it caused her to lose sight of herself and what she wanted. So, she stopped holding herself back. I think you should do what you want to do, right when you want to do it. Makio follows up with an equally blunt response. If anyone gives you a hard time for standing out, give them hell, tear them to pieces. As long as I'm alive, I might as well struggle. And Asa takes this in. She thinks about it and decides to sing. She sings in front of Motsu and Makio, she sings at the band club audition, and she sings at the outdoor concert. All to a resounding applause. So is that it? Problem solved? Asa has broken free from the shackles? Not really. Asa is still going to struggle with the idea of standing out in numerous other future scenarios, which I feel like makes this video a little anticlimactic, but I think that's the point. There isn't some revolutionary life lesson that will fix your way of thinking. All Ikoku Nikki wants to say is that you should listen to yourself a little more, and you should be unafraid if being yourself makes you a little different. This is a series that cherishes your ability to think for yourself. So that's what I want you to do. Decide whether standing out is right for you or not. Struggle with that for a while, why don't you?